they're saying that Austin Metcalf said, "I'm not gonna fight you," and he's like, and the witnesses are saying, black witnesses are saying, he initiated. He was the aggressor.
He killed a man. This is not a whodunit. He did it. He took a human life. Nobody has said word about how dare he hire a white lawyer, because as a community, we're fine. It's like, yeah, he had to get the best. He had to get a white lawyer.
Do you think that was the right verdict?
What a great question.
I got to tell you guys about Verdict Bourbon. You know, it's a bourbon that's smooth, it's full of character, absolutely incredible. We've had people try it, review it, and the feedback has been incredibly amazing. So if you go with Not Guilty, you have the smooth sweetness that people love, and Guilty brings the bold, classic bourbon character. So all you got to do is go to verdictbourbon.com, and you got to plead your age, face the verdict, and find out if you're guilty or not guilty. You must be 21 and over, and make sure you drink responsibly. Don't be a dummy. I want to show y'all the interview that I did with Shaun Kent, who's the attorney of Rick Chow. It was an incredible interview. This was one of my best interviews that I've done. This is just about Karmelo Anthony's trial, but we went on to talk about his trial, and he divulged some things that the public never really understood as a defense attorney, and it was incredible. I want to play this clip for you. This is just his take on the Karmelo Anthony, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Roll it.
Since the Karmelo Anthony trial has ended, the backlash is starting to switch.
Yeah.
And my social media has got a lot more of, we may hate you, you traitor, but please go help that poor boy Karmelo. And two, one of the things that I can't, and I mentioned this, Karmelo is a young black man accused of stealing a white child over in Texas. And he hired a white lawyer, and nobody's jumping up and down on him.
Right.
You know, nobody has said word about how dare he hire a white lawyer, because as a community, we're fine. It's like, yeah, he had to get the best. He had to get a white lawyer, but Chow can't get the best because I'm black. I have to be an uncle or a token or so forth. But
and his family raised a lot of money for his defense, and I think they had
how much?
I think they had this could be a rumor that's not accurate, but I saw it online that said that they had a public defender at first. I mean,
and I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because I heard they had a public defender at first, and then something else happened, and then that guy who's the liaison for the family, he did not help them publicly whatsoever. I don't know if you know the guy's name.
Yeah,
He didn't help them, man, because he's not an attorney. And some of the things that he said out in public was it made the family look bad. You know, like, and when they kicked the other dad out, like when they kicked Austin Metcalf's dad out of that memorial meeting or something like that, I think it was a bad look because, you know, his son is the victim of this case, and they're being very punitive towards him. Even if you wanted to, you should give the appearance that Karmelo is not. I mean, yeah, Karmelo is not a bad kid, and his family is not punitive, and he's just a young kid that made a mistake. And we welcome reunification because both of our kids lost a lot, but they didn't do that. They wanted to make it about race, and so this white man, how dare you come here and like as if he was wrong. His son was a victim of this case, so I think their PR was a nightmare.
You have got to. You know, we have a little phrase, we say it's always be closing. And what we use it for is you're always working on the end no matter what. And that family at sentencing, that sentence could have been way different if that family of daddy was just like, you know what, this is a sweet family. This is a sweet young man. They could have calmed down. So attacking and doing stuff like that, I don't think it does any good whatsoever.
Do you think that was the right verdict?
What a great question. I don't think so. I think realistically, and now probably a better response is, could I see and understand the verdict? Absolutely.
Right.
Like I can see it. I can understand it. Texas law, the way that they understand an injury that could cause death, I get it. Things that bother me, and again, nobody watched the trial. We read it and read about it.
Yeah, they didn't.
A couple of things that they didn't publicly. Him not testifying, Brandon, is weird to me. You understand? Like in a self-defense case where I come from, and I've tried a bunch of cases, he is a young kid who is supposedly very smart, very articulate, good-looking kid, small in stature.
Yes.
My two issues with watching that trial, again, he killed a man. This is not a whodunit. He did it. He took a human life. This is Texas. And, you know, they will forgive a lot of stuff in Texas for killing another human. but you need to look him in the eye and explain why did you feel you had to do
Yes.
it? Why do you have a knife? Answer the question no one wants to think about. Bruh, why you got a knife in your bag?
Right.
No, I've never heard an answer to that question. Like, I'm like, bro, why you got a knife? Get on the stand and tell people, look, I've been bullied, I've been threatened, I am scared. Something to humanize yourself. And I don't understand. And I did a post about it earlier, and I guess sometimes, the reason we don't put people on the stands, people ask me, like, why don't you put your client on the stand? One, if I can get their story out without them subject to cross-examination, I'm gonna get in. Rick Chow is a perfect example. Remember, I told you that statement. We got Rick Chow's statement out, and he didn't have to testify. I know Rick has very broken English,
Yes.
and so I'm like, Rick, and he was offended. He's just like, I want to testify. I'm like, you would be a witness. Why? Because you have trouble with the letter R. Like I was like,
That's true. It's true. I think his son, was it his son that testified?
It was his son.
It wasn't good. He's because his English wasn't as good. He seemed to be hesitant on the responses, which made his credibility look bad. Even though he wasn't hesitant. It's just that he probably trying to think through the English way to articulate this, and it did not look good for him. And I was like, God dang! I mean, if his story wasn't a story, it would look bad for him.
Here's what's funny about that. Like, I love the fact, because this is the things that I go into strategy. We played his body cam and 911 tapes. So people were asking, well, why were you playing his body cam and 911 tapes? Exactly what you said. I'm like, he does not come across it. He thinks his way through and so I was like, I want to play his 911 so people see this is his demeanor. That's how we think. I'm like, play it so the jury can be like, well, that's just how he is.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong. And so that's one of the reasons, like, there was that question about, do you put Rick on? In Karmelo's case, you got to put that kid on.
Yes.
You got to put a young brother on the stand to look directly at that jury and at the very minimum, apologize to the family.
Yes.
I took your son's life.
I think if he had done that, he wouldn't have got 30 plus years in prison.
No.
I think they may have been reasonable. I think his testimony could have gotten him to the jury. I think the judge gave the jury instructions that they could do manslaughter. And I think if he got on there and they saw him and if he cried or he was remorseful and he said, why do you have a knife? I forgot the knife in my bag. I didn't know it was in my bag or something to make you feel like I didn't intentionally bring this knife to the thing looking for trouble. Or if he said, I was intimidated. I've been beat up many times. He cries on the stand. These guys were hovering over me. I didn't want to do it. I was shaky. I was scared. It was impulsive. I didn't even, after I'd done it, I didn't realize what I did. I didn't know. I was asking about it. I was checking on him. The cross-examination would have been tough for him if they didn't prepare him well.
You prepare him, you work him, he's a kid. You said, so when you ask me, do I think it's the right verdict? Based upon what the jury understood, I see it, but you just hit the nail on the head. If he testifies and all the message coming out, Karmelo was sufficiently emotional, he was apologetic, he was this, does he get 35? Does the judge hear him and say, this kid doesn't deserve 35 years? Ladies and gentlemen, and the jury comes, and the jury's like, God, he doesn't deserve it. But they never heard from him.
Because I think he may have looked like
I don't know why.
I think he may have looked like a criminal to them, right? I mean, even though his stature is there, all the testimony made him look bad, because they're saying that Austin Metcalf said, I'm not going to fight you. And he's like, and the witnesses are saying, black witnesses are saying, he initiated. He was the aggressor. He said, I'm not doing nothing. Y'all make me move. And like when I hear their testimony, I hear a voice in my mind of what he may have sound like. If he took the stand and he's got like a soft voice and he's very like, kind of like shaky voice, you won't hear a kid saying, do something then. Y'all make me move.
Yeah, squat. What?
You could have asked him on the stand, what did you say? And he could have been like, I said, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
I'm not moving. I don't want to move. And he sound really wimpish, you know what I'm saying? And the jury may be like, this kid is not like a thug that you would imagine that he was stabbing a kid in the heart with no remorse. And so I think that's what really killed him.
And I don't know, maybe he's got a criminal record we don't know about, and maybe they didn't want to put him on the stand because of his criminal record. So I don't want to attack the lawyer, but to me, it's easy to say, you need it. He got 35 years. How much worse could he have been if he got 35 years by not testifying?
Y'all, welcome back. that interview was incredible. This was just the part in part of the Austin Metcalf case, but he went on to talk about Rick Chow, and that was absolutely incredible explanation that you guys have never heard anywhere, especially if you not follow him. But go follow him. I think we'll put the links in the description section.